Hi, dear friends. Welcome back to Akshar Dare. I'm Devraj. So, very good morning, first of all, everyone. Today is 19/6/2023. I hope you guys are working and preparing towards to improve our communication in English. So, I hope the previous videos were useful for you and also it given you given you opportunity to learn English very easily. If you guys have any doubts or any comments, you guys can leave the comment in the comment box so that I can help you out to resolve your doubts. So let's start today's newspaper reading. So before going to start the newspaper reading, I would request you guys to please subscribe the channel, like and comment. If you like the video, please share with your friends so that they can utilize the opportunity. So and I can bring the very informative videos related to education, healthcare, and personal interviews, especially in the field of education. So let's start the newspaper reading. Yes, guys, let's see in the front page what's the news. Complicated nature of climate leadership. Dialogues that hurt feelings to be revised. Geeta Press gets Gandhi Peace Prize for 2021. What the US should note as it plays host, pluralism and diversity must be recovered. Chetri and Chongte star in India's title win. Indian medicines under lens in Sri Lanka over a series of adverse events. Biren asks Mizoram CM to protect Maiti Simvalis in New Delhi to meet PM. 10 injured as KIA shuttle bus hits pool. Power struggle resurfaces in Congress. Bodies of 3 boys recovered from lake. 55,000 consumers sign up for Gruha Jyoti scheme amidst technical glitches on Seva Sindhu portal. Ragi Mudde, Suppu Saru, Kheer, bread jam and Mangaluru buns added to Indira Canteen menu. Yes, every home is a dream. HLSH. Triple. If you guys need any LSC home loan or to purchase land to for the mortgage loan, so kindly you guys can contact us, especially me. So we have license. So our company has license to provide the loans. You guys can contact us. Yes, 10 injured as KIA shuttle bus hits pool. 24 properties sitting on Raja Kaluwe at private layout in Munne Kolalu. As BBM says, encouragement have been identified as on a total of 571 survey numbers. 55,000 consumers sign up for Gruha scheme. Ragi Mudde Sopusaru on the menu. CCB raids 3 balls and restaurants running live band. Poor will CM to talk to trade bodies that have called for a strike. Application invited. The University of Agricultural Sciences, Bangalore has invited applications for the best farm women and best extension workers steel level, state level, district level, and taluk level awards. According to a UAS bill release, the application forms can be obtained from the office of the Joint Director of Agriculture of respective districts or Krishi Vigyan Kendras, Odanahalli, ದೊಡ್ಡಬಳ್ಳಾಪುರ, ಚಂದುರಾಯನಹಳ್ಳಿ, ಮಾಗಡಿ, ಕಂದಳ್ಳಿ ಹಾಸನ್, ಕೋನೇಹಳ್ಳಿ ತಿಪ್ಟೂರು, ವಿಸಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಂಡ್ಯ, Kurubur Farm, Chintamani, and Haradanahalli, Chamarajnagar. Applications can be downloaded from the university website www.usbangalore.edu.in. So, city students secures a All India rank 11 in a JEE exam. Bodies of three bodies recovered from Lake Tulsi Gauta and tracks with the students in Chikkamangaluru. Sri Vishwara Gurukul Students PU Science College, Kardial. Cheat sheets for your mind. Collect, curate, and capitalize on mental bond models to unbox the potential in learning. Education Plus. If you guys need any education related information, you guys can look into it. And this in this page, you guys can see the scholarship opportunities. If you guys are not affordable to pay the fees, fill the fees for your education, and the especially for master degree and graduations. Flower struggle resurfaces in Congress. While two ministers say Siddaramaiah will continue as the chief minister, DK Shivkumar's brother Suresh takes exception to such statements. I am not aware of what Mahadevappa has spoken. You should ask him on that. Mr. Siddaramaiah is currently the chief minister, and I guess he will continue to be. There is no discussion on sharing a power. I do not know why Mahadevappa has given such a statement. He is a senior minister, mature leader, and has political strength. I think he is more interested in speaking on other things than concentrating on his role as a minister. Trial Rana Bunde Bharat Express had to be conducted. Annabhagya Siddaramaiah asks BJP to convince Centre to give additional rice. Provide 5 kg of ragi jova instead of rice. Mahadai NGOs in Goa protest against state. Karnataka takes top spot in monitoring lakes, water bodies, action hate. Telangana, however, tops in offering relevant water quality data. Most pollution control boards in India fail to maintain relevant data on lake water quality, says analysis by NGO. TAPAS UAE achieves major milestones to stone off Karwar coast. Bangalore police trace missing captain of ship. Siddaramaiah calls an archbishop. What Indians should be saying to the US on June 21? Let's read this article, guys. When this April, India surpassed China as the world's most populous nation. Commentators were quick to declare this Indian century a plaudit primarily reflecting the so-called demographic dividend. By 2030, the ratio of India's working age population to its total population will reach 70%, the highest of any large economy in the world. This is a workforce of extraordinary magnitude, fully one quarter of the globe's, and a consumer class of equally extraordinary potential. A powers of the world. There have been other Indian centuries, however, prior to the colonial depredations suffered before regaining independence in 1947. For a millennium before the arrival of the British, India, along with China, was a powerhouse. By the 16th and the 16th centuries, 16,000s, it is estimated to have possessed up to a quarter of the world power production capacity. The imperial capital in Delhi was the destination of ambassadors from the current of Kingdom James first to the top Ayutthaya Emperor of today's Thailand. Poets and painters and musicians from across Central and West Asia and Hub craftsmen from Aspor field as Italy, who brought with them the Pietra Dura artistry that adorns the Taj Mahal. The century was only the last of many marked by breathtaking achievements. How even to begin as inventory. The invention of zero making possible algebra and calculus and eventually the computer, the perfection of linguistics matched by the West only in the 20th century. A language landscape vastly unlike Rome's Chinas, which saw writers in dozens of languages producing works of transcendent beauty. Weavers who clothed the world as far as Africa and beyond. Metallurgists who made corrosion resistant iron 2000 years ago, and farmers who sent new cereals and cummins, cardamom, and other cultivars into the world, who also demonstrated how to live in harmony with animals and hunted to extinction everywhere else. Colonialism eroded most of the traditions that made India great. But after 4 decades of the most creative mobilization of freedom in history, the country began in 1947 to reclaim its patrimony. Although the democratic constitution of independent India may have been written by an Indian who had studied at Columbia University, B.R. Ambedkar, the Republican practices and federalism inherent in it have much deeper roots in the country. And while independent India's self description, unity in diversity may have become a mere slogan today. It was exemplified throughout the long historical record of India's pluralism. The remarkable achievements of India's distant and more recent past, above all, its singular achievement of learning to live with religious and cultural differences, are now at risk. Under the government of Narendra Modi, from the moment he became prime minister in 2014, after a youth spent in the ranks of a paramilitary organization avowing Hindu nationalism, and then a long stint as chief minister of the state of Gujarat, where he was accused and is still suspected by many despite his acquittal by courts in the mass killing of Muslim citizens in 2002. Mr. Modi initiated a practice of intrusive state power and majoritarian nationalism that is unlike anything India has ever seen, while destroying much of what made India great. A systematic campaign. Last year, watchdog groups including Genocide Watch, Georgetown University study issued warnings about the organized oppression of India's Muslims. 14% of the population, nearly 200 million. It cited in particular the 2019 revocation of the special autonomous status of Kashmir, ending 7 decades of protection, the Citizen Amendments Act, and the National Register of Citizens, together aimed at expelling Muslim refugees from Bangladesh but also reducing to second class citizenship. Millions of Indian Muslims who lack documents that many Indians lack, and anti conversion laws, which the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom has found to be inconsistent with human rights. And this is to say nothing of daily arrests and detention of Muslims no on no lawful grounds, and repeated beatings and lynchings of Muslim shopkeepers and tradesmen. In a word, Mr. Modi's government persecutes Muslims both by the construction of laws and governmental practices that violate human rights, while maintaining silence over the atrocities committed against them by the lethal energies its own religious nationalism has unleashed. Under Mr. Modi, the government has pursued a systematic campaign to destroy civil society, outlawing non-governmental organizations, NGOs, undermining universities, think tanks, and research centers, and harassing the independent press. Last winter, in its documentary India, The Modi Question, the British Broadcasting Corporation reviewed a British government document from 2002 that found Mr. Modi directly responsible for the slaughter of Muslims during the Gujarat riots. and that the violence had all the hallmark of genocide. 2 months later, the Mumbai and New Delhi offices of the BBC were raided by the Central Board of Direct Taxes, citing irregularities and discrepancies in the broadcasters' taxes. Comparable tactics that have been used against environmental groups, including the As Oxfam India, Environics Trust, and the Legal Initiative for Forest and Environment, whose director, the lawyer Ritvik Datta, has been prosecuted by the Central Bureau of Investigation as well as against the Center for Policy Research, India's leading public policy think tank. In each case, their foreign contribution license was cancelled, effectively ending their capacity to function. There has been a concentrated attack to undermine the intellectual and administrative autonomy of the Jawaharlal Nehru University, the most distinguished institution of higher education in the country, and research institutes such as the Center for the Study of Developing Societies in New Delhi and the Center for Studies in Social Sciences Calcutta, long admired for their intellectual freedom, have suddenly had their budgets slashed by the central government. The independent press has virtually been silenced. Press freedom violation in India. A report from the International Press Institute identified 83 violations between April and September 2022. Over the past 8 years, the Modi government and BJP Bharatiya Janata Party supporters have attempted to silence independent media through attacks and repressive laws. At least 18 journalists faced physical attacks and violence during this monitoring period, with cases involving both state and non-state actors. The Adani saga. Some of these abuses and assaults have targeted the legitimate opposition to the activities of one company, Adani Enterprises, whose director is a Modi intimate. This global conglomerate, headquartered in India, has been much in the news. In November, the New York Times reported that the company's president, Gautam Adani, was named the richest man in Asia. Soon thereafter, a New York financial research firm demonstrated that he had been running the largest con in corporate history. What should also been making also have been making news are Mr. Adani's coal mines and his close ties to Mr. Modi. NGOs have been investigating Mr. Adani's staggering environmental destruction, including the devastation of some of the most biodiverse regions of the world. In Eastern India and the wholesale elimination of villages and indigenous lifeways, in his pursuit of some of the world's dirtiest coal. Yet it is Mr. Modi, Mr. Adani's critics whom the government has punished, as the Washington Post has reported, not the con that he perpetrated, not the Prime Minister, who has strenuously helped him secure the lucrative coal deals. The religious prosecution, the attacks on NGOs, independent research centers, and the press are bad enough. The furthering up environmental chaos are potentially global proportions, but particularly catastrophic for India's cell itself. Mr. Adani has been named by Oxfam as the third most culpable carbon billionaire in the world, shows the true scope of the problem. As Chief Minister Mr. Modi was denied a visa to the United States in 2005 because of his perceived involvement in the Gujarat program. This week, he arrives on a state visit to the United States, despite the fact that his human rights and civil liberties record since being elected Prime Minister in 2014 as in many ways worse. The plain fact is that this record has been totally ignored by Presidents Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and Joe Biden. If, as the White House has said, the Indian leaders will be visiting in order to strengthen our two countries' shared commitments to a free, open, prosperous, and secure Indo-Pacific. America's leaders must start taking seriously about what freedom and openness now mean in India. India will only inaugurate an Indian century if its great traditions of pluralism and respect for diversity can be recovered. This is about the India and US. What is going to be happening in the upcoming days? Let's go to the next editorial page. Responsibility, and the complexities of climate leadership. Let's make it visible. Over the last few weeks, there has been an increasingly vocal campaign to unseat the president designate of COP28. Minister Sultan Al Jaber of the host nation, the United Arab Emirates. This includes a recent letter from United States and European parliamentarians calling for his removal on the grounds that he is CEO of the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company. As representatives of developing countries in the climate change front line, that is Bangladesh and the Maldives, and as leaders of Climate Vulnerable Forum, a group of 58 of the world's most climate vulnerable countries hosting 1.5 billion of the world's poorest people. We know only too well the urgency of the climate challenge. We have endured a climate related economic losses of 500 billion in the 500 billion dollar in the last 2 decades alone. This is a journey of unity. However, we also recognize that this journey towards a clean energy future is one we must embark on together. Fossil fuel independent economic are critical to these efforts, and they clearly have a more difficult task defining their energy transition strategy. It is important to avoid division, and we must continue to engage our fellow parties at COP28 and elsewhere and the best way forward for the economies and for the planet. Sultan Al Jaber has led Masdar, the renewable energy company, which has made huge investments in solar and wind projects. The UAE's Barakah nuclear power plant, which was recently opened, generated 6 gigawatts, 5.6 or 5.8 of clean energy. Masdar and the International Renewable Energy Agency recently signed an agreement aiming to triple global renewable energy capacity by 2030. This is the leadership of our global clean energy future in the most practical sense. Finance will be crucial for COP28. Our program of climate prosperity plans, including the Mujib Climate Prosperity Plan adopted in Bangladesh, seeks to generate inward investment of tens of trillions of dollars in building clean energy infrastructure. This prosperity agenda recognizes that economic growth for the poorest countries is non-negotiable and that our prospects should not be curtailed so that the rich countries can keep on polluting. Luckily, we do not seek coal, oil, and gas. We seek electricity and transport and industry, all of which can now be increasingly delivered with clean energy. We seek the UAE's leadership in helping secure investment supported by sovereign wealth funds and multilateral development banks, which can deliver the huge boost in climate prosperity we need. Debating is a barrier. Many of our nations are also crippled by unsustainable debates, including debates which are becoming unpayable due to climate damages largely caused by emissions elsewhere. Rather than going on by one over the financial cliff, we urgently need a collective approach which recognizes the debate problem and the barrier it now poses to clean energy investment and climate adaptation. Sovereign wealth funds and multilateral development banks could assist in de-risking and de-restructure debates and ensuring reissued climate bonds. As Sultan Al Jaber has suggested, Sultan Al Jaber can now demonstrate to Europe and North America which what leadership really means by explicitly signaling to sovereign wealth funds and MDBs that he wants to see their full participation. We further call on the UAE's leadership for a clean energy target starting in 2015, transforming the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company into the Abu Dhabi Clean Energy and Grid Company by 2030, and towards global financial reform, including of the International Monetary Fund. Thus, finance continues to be the central to the COP outcome. The loss and damage fund that was secured last year in Sharm el Sheikh must not be just be another empty bank account, and the fossil fuels dependent economies can demonstrate their commitment to a shared future by making subscriptions to support funding for climate damages in the most vulnerable countries well in advance of the COP. There are no winners and losers in a global climate breakdown. The oil industry, included as representatives of the most climate vulnerable developing nations, we call on American and European parliamentarians to reconsider their position. Instead of seeking to exclude relevant parties and stakeholders, we believe everyone should participate in decisions as with such important ramifications. Holding COP28 in the UAE and with Sultan Al Jaber as COP president designate may well be an opportunity to engage the fossil fuels industry to make some significant and quantifiable commitments to emissions cuts and climate action in legendal. Time is running out, and we all need to work together to save the 1.5 degrees Paris target before it is too late. This is about the international. This is about the climate change. Let's go to the next page, guys. It's preparedness space. India escaped the fury of the cyclone because of early warnings from the IMD. Massacre of innocents. Uganda and Congo must do more against Islamist militants. Emerging challenges to the Dravidian model, a case of propriety versus politics. Stalin's unconditional backing of Senthil Balaji raises uncomfortable questions. Vipajai part up a new trend in Indian cyclones. So while the number of cyclonic disturbances has decreased, their intensity has increased. In Man Ki Baat, PM speaks on emergency efforts to eradicate TB. Modi hails the achievements of spokesperson in his monthly radio broadcast. Congress takes a dig at PM over silence and Manipur violence. Biren asks Mizoram CM to protect Maidis. Gita Press, Gorakhpur, awarded Gandhi Peace Prize for 2021. It has published 41.7 crore books in 14 languages, including 16 to 16.2 crore copies of the Gita. Gandhi Prize to Gita Press, a travesty, says Congress. Indian mentions under lens over adverse events. Congress suspends Ujjain unit president. Net direct tax collection rises 7.2% to 3.8 lakh crore, says Finance Ministry. Corporate Ministry to consult practitioners on MCA's 21 glitches. More than 2 lakh jobs eliminated from PSUs, Rahul Gandhi. 3 held for murdering 2 women in Delhi. The 2 women were allegedly by a group of men in the high security Akipuram area of Delhi early on Sunday morning. The women, Pinky and Jyoti, were sisters. They were trying to save their brother Lalit from the attackers who shot them, the police said, adding that 3 accused has been arrested. According to a senior officer, the accused knew Mr. Lalit as they had borrowed 10,000 from him a while ago, which he had been asking them to return. He had approached them a few times for the pay past 15 days. Yesterday, he spoke to them and requested for the money again. The accused persons then attacked him, an officer said. Bengal governor opens a control room for panchayat polls. Sakshi Babita engage in war of words over restless stir. Sakshi accuses BJP leader of trying to use the protest by grapplers for selfish motives. Babita hits back, saying that the Olympic medalist had become a puppet of the Congress party. MP Congress cautious on vouchers from possible turnouts. These leaders have been told quietly clearly that their request will be entertained only if the local unit of the Congress gives a report that it is essential for winning their area. BJP expanding its factory of hatred, AP. RSS appeals for peace in strife with Manipur. States look for alternatives as centers restrict FCI purchase. JIEE Advanced 2023 IIT Hyderabad June Student Top Rank List. Uddhav targets Modi over US visit amid Manipur violence. DU students taboo to death outside college campus. Adi Purush writers says he will revise the dialogues that hurt sentiments of public. Veteran cinematographer Nowroj contractor passes away at 79. Quest for knowledge. Austria police arrest three youth for planned attack on Pride parade. New bill on disqualification period is to help Nawaz spark up opposition. Mali junta's referendum on draft constitution hints at power change. At least 2 killed, 26 missing in Nepal floods and landslips. Blinken arrives in Beijing as US and China look to amend fractured ties. Both sides emphasize the importance of maintaining open channels for communication. Beijing calls for more exchanges, including mutual visits by students, business people. Describes Taiwan as the most pronounced risk in their relationship. Israel's Netanyahu to move ahead with judicial reforms. Pakistan corruption watchdog summons Imran in land scam. Sudan's warring generals agree to 72-hour truce. The many forts to miss selling. Actively considering direct plans or having some element of DIY, do it yourself, or using a good dose of passive products is necessary if you wish to free yourself from industry games. The other side of a buy and hold strategy. This is the sports page. Moeen fined for using unauthorized drying agent. James Henderson completes 1,100 wickets in first class cricket. Rahane to play for Leicestershire after West Indies tour. Murray climbs Nottingham Open to extend winning streak. Chetri Changtia and target as India lifts Intercontinental Cup. After finishing woes lead to an unproductive opening session, both the goals come in the second half. Satvik, Sairaj and Chirag claim India's first Super 1000 doubles crown. England suffers a double blow after taking 7-run lead. Domestic season schedule released Ranji from January 5. Italy holds up the Netherlands to finish third. Sri Shankar leaps to a meet record. A personal best effort of 8.41 meter helps the 24-year-old qualify for Asian Games and words. And she books a ticket to Hangzhou in the women's section. Bolt wins Battle of the Brits to claim first WTA title. Jamari lives up to a billing in Phillies Championship. Abhishek climbs his third World Cup gold. Special Olympic start with grand opening ceremony. Pollard and Clark tied atop the leaderboard up to a third round. Fernandes on the double as Portugal rules the night. European football need not fear player exodus to Saudi. Afif and Abadat recalled to Bangladesh squad for T20s. Pakistani team's arrival for SC chips ship delayed due to a visa issue. Project to track abuse identifies more than 300. Confident India eager to win against Uzbekistan. Martin holds up Bagnia to win German MotoGP. This is the sport. The last page, it's not able to see what's the hell. The remarkable endurance of the Y chromosome, master of maleness. Many animal species have a genuine fear of losing the Y chromosome in the distant future. This has happened in some species that have naturally lost this chromosome. Such animals provide us with the models to understand the process of a sex chromosome turnover and a means to repurpose another chromosome into a sex chromosome. In the animal kingdom, including mammals, scientists have noticed the substantial differences in lifespan between the sexes. The females tend to live to be longer than the males. Clinical trials. Free bus travel for women in Karnataka. How does Shakti scheme work? Chief Minister Siddharama says in India, women's participation in workforce is shrinking, and promoting free bus travel will empower them. A conductor issuing a zero ticket to a passenger on a bus at the Kempegoda station in Bangalore on June 11, the day the Shakti scheme was rolled out in Karnataka. Alchemy's IAC designs prove that can sense engine. Why traffic is no longer an issue. While the rest of us work and stretch our money as far as it will go, our politicians stretch the work to see how far the money will go. An exhibition where code is used to create art. Art of Code, a month-long exhibition is social New BL Road, Bangalore in collaboration with Tijos India showcases a collection of digital art created using creative coding. Physics Fun House. Meet Ankit Rathur, who is making physics fun with his apartment laboratory. Vishal Raj, I want our present to know our past. Text and context. This is the last page. Last two pages. People who returned home as cyclone Bipoja weekends. Investments by FPIs is in equities for the fourth consecutive month. Majorities seek a SATCO spectrum allocation without action. The wheat exports by India to countries facing food shortage. The expected rise in Russian oil imports to India and ONGC. China's developmental security approach. Why are the Chinese authorities cracking down on US based companies and domestic firms dealing with overseas clients? Is the US China rivalry at the root of these aggressions? How is China trying to balance development and security concerns? What is the new view of from India? Where security come to the blue forward in Chinese politics? Let's read China's development security approach. Is it important? Let's make it visible and read this editorial page. Yes, late in May this year, the Cyberspace Administration of China announced that the US chip giant Micron, which had been under investigation by the Cybersecurity Review Office, failed to obtain a security clearance and that its products posed a threat to national security. Consequently, business operators tied to critical information and infrastructure were advised not to procure Micron products. So this is the latest incident in a series of crackdowns by the Chinese government against American consultancies and domestic firms dealing with overseas clients. What are these other instances? 2 weeks before the Micron announcement, the Chinese authorities had raided the offices of CapVision, a Shanghai-based consultancy firm that connects lakhs of China-based experts with a background in defense and military finance, high-tech trade, energy, and medicine among others, to mostly overseas clients. CapVision was charged by Chinese security authorities with using economic inducements to steal state secrets and facilitating the transfer of sensitive information sourced from its experts to its point clients. In the process, the company was found guilty of violating several laws relating to national security. Before that, in April this year, the offices of American consultancy firm Bain and Co. were raided and its employees in China questioned. While no employees was detained, The authorities seized computers and phones from its offices. In March 2, Chinese authorities raided another American firm called Minch and detained some of its employees, forcing the firm to shut its two offices in Beijing. Meanwhile, the Chinese government has been installing several mergers and acquisition applications involving foreign entities, which has in turn to led to mounting operational costs for foreign businesses. Why is the Chinese government cracking down on such firms? In October 2022, the US tightened export controls, which would make it harder for China to obtain and manufacture advanced computing chips and supercomputers. Therefore, at the outest, the actions by Chinese authorities appear motivated by vengeance against the US led efforts to constrain by heckling American firms and restricting their access to the vast Chinese market. Beijing seeks to capitalize on the divergence that exists between the US administration and the American business community over the farmers' China policy. Observers felt vindicated when NVIDIA founder and CEO Jensen Huang expressed his reservations over US export control measures against China. He feared a fallout on NVIDIA revenues as China contributes to around 11% of its global earnings. In a statement to the Financial Times, Jensen even called China more valuable than Taiwan, owing to its irreplaceable as a large market. The crackdown on consultancy and due diligence firms is likely to have ripple effects across all overseas businesses. Operating China business rely on consultancy firms to navigate the regulatory environment, which may prove to be challenging, especially in a country like China, where regulatory unpredictability and uncertainty have been a norm in the last few years. However, the above perspective amounts to a limited understanding of the motives of the Chinese authorities. There is a domestic component to these decisions that is different from the one that has largely been featured by mainstream media. Why has security come to forefront in Chinese politics? Beijing has justified each of the above discussed actions using national security concerns, however rhetorical as it may sound. The reality is that a threat to security has become an ubiquitous concern in all aspects of governance in China. Under President Xi Jinping, a Chinese discourse on national security has repeatedly underlined that the idea of development cannot be isolated from that of security. On numerous occasions, including at the 20th Party Congress, has last year and the two sessions, the annual panel sessions of the National People's Congress and of the Chinese People Political Consultative Conference. This year, Mr. Xi emphasized the need to balance development with security at the recently and concluded meeting of the Central National Security Commission. Mr. Z said it is necessary to ensure that a new development pattern with the new security pattern actively shape a favorable external security environment for China in order to better safeguard its opening up a push for a deep integration of development and security. It is fairly evident that Mr. Z wants the developmental agenda to be qualified by security. China's incessant attempt to securitize its developmental has meant that non-traditional security issues have acquired greater significance in its developmental narratives and among all the non-traditional security issues. Cybersecurity and data and information security seem to concern Chinese authorities the most. This is apparent in their recent attempts to strengthen cybersecurity and counter espionage laws. The recently amended counter espionage law that will come into effect from July 1st, 2023 aims to treat all documents, data materials, data materials and items relating to national security and interest at par with state secrets, thus broadening the scope of espionage. It also expands the definition of espionage to include cyber attacks against state organs or critical information infrastructure. The revised law also empowers authorities to seize data, electronic equipment, information on personal passport property, and even ban border crossing. Following up on the above amendments, China also unveiled in late May its opposition paper on global digital governance that calls upon states to respect the sovereignty, jurisdiction and governance of data of other states, and to not obtain data located in other states through companies or individuals without other states' permission. A combined reading of these documents with the comprehensive national security concept, first floated in 2014, says that the concept of national security has permeated each and every aspect of governance and development center strategy during Mr. Jin Z reign. The recent crackdowns are thus reflective of this approach to developmental security. The existing view with this Chinese administration is that several foreign businesses operating in China are indulging in espionage. The suspicion is that due diligence firms and consulting consultancies are leveraging their vast networks to extract sensitive data under the garb of pre-exchange of information. The authorities also suspect the installation of backdoors by US tech companies at the behest of their government. What next? China now find itself is an odd spot where development and security are applying dramatically opposing forces, thereby creating a regulatory dilemma. While development requires reform and opening up and creating a business friendly environment, as the party says, the need to balance development with security wants and posing restrictive measures which impinge upon pre-economic activity. The victims of the recent crackdown not only have the US-China competition to blame, but also China's evolving national security discourse. The fact that Chinese authorities clarified that their actions against Micron are an isolated case and all foreign businesses are welcomed so long as they comply with the domestic regulations supports this idea. Nevertheless, the blurring of lines between development and security are likely to hurt foreign business sentiments in the long run. However, from India's perspective, one cannot help but notice the outright contradiction that China's discourse presents when it comes to its relationship with New Delhi. While Beijing insists on the need to hyphenate development with security, it calls on India to keep the border issue at its proper place and not let it derail the overall relationship, economic and development with China. Amit Kumar is a research analyst with Indo-Pacific. He studies a program at the Takshashila Institution. This is about the India-China-US relationship, business tactics, business dilemma. So this is the last page, guys. Your excuse sounds pretty thin to me. Telegram bots, their functioning and possible security threats. Bots on Telegram are small applications that run entirely within the platform and can be designed to support any kind of task or service. However, not all of them are secure and safe. They may collect user data, including personal information and chat history. I hope on Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi birthday, Equation Nobel Peace Prize winners. So this is the last page, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the newspaper reading. I hope you guys enjoyed the newspaper reading. So if you guys to be very effective in communication, so at least read the newspaper minimum 40 minutes to 2 hours daily, each and every day. If you are at least reading the 2 hours in a day, so that would make you very effective in communication, especially in English, who are from a rural background, who have studied in Kannada medium, especially for the rural students. So they at least put effort daily 2 hours to improve your communication. So it will make you very better in English. So I hope you follow the same tips which I have given in the previous video. That will make you very good in communication. So please subscribe the channel, like and comment for more videos related to education, healthcare and personal videos related, especially related to education sector. So see you in the upcoming videos, guys. Have a great day. Bye bye. Take care.